Long before SUVs became a dime a dozen, the family hauler of choice was the minivan. It made perfect sense because they were, and still are, hard to beat when it comes to comfort, space, and practicality. The minivan was every soccer mom's dream come true, and while their popularity has dwindled in recent years, they haven't exactly reached extinction. But with more and more seven-seaters in the mix, is the minivan still a compelling choice? Well, let's find out by taking a closer look at the Honda Odyssey EX-V.
Hi everyone, on behalf of AC Motors and Honda Cars Makati Inc., I am Ace Karamihan, your sales manager here at Honda Cars Show. Would like to invite everyone to visit our dealership and test drive our latest Honda models. Thank you. To book a service appointment, you may contact us here.
The first generation Honda Odyssey came out in the mid-90s. It shared the same platform with the Honda Accord and had hinged doors, so it was considered to be more of an MPV back then. Since the second generation model, the Odyssey got sliding doors for the North American market, while the rest of the world got hinged doors until this model came out. This is the fifth generation or RC model, and as you can see, there's no mistaking it for a minivan. And it may not have the street cred or cool factor of an SUV, but there's nothing wrong with a vehicle that tells everyone that you're more practical than ego-expressive. And even if its silhouette screams people hauler, I think it still exudes some character, not to mention the fact that you still get some pretty decent kit. At the front, you get a huge grille on horizontal slats flanked by LED headlights. You also get LED cornering lamps and DRLs to give the fascia a sense of sophistication. Along the side, it's nice to see that you get a straight belt line and character lines that are fluidic. The side mirrors are mounted on the doors instead of the A-pillar in order to improve visibility. While the wheel and tire combo comes in the form of 17-inch alloys wrapped in 215 55 series tires. Then we get to the part that makes this a minivan, the sliding doors. This is power operated and can also be opened and closed using a key fob. You'll see that ingress and egress is made easier with its relatively low access points. At the back, you also get LED taillights, and aside from an overdose of chrome, the only real bummer is the absence of a power liftgate. It would have been nice to have since you already get power sliding doors, plus this isn't the smallest nor the lightest door. In terms of cargo space, you get 351 liters. The luggage area is deep, so you'll have to stack your luggage to fully optimize it. However, folding the third row gives you a very generous 1,867 liters of cargo space. But if there's one area a minivan has to ace, it's the interior. So let's go check that out. Now, just because this is a minivan, don't think that all the creature comforts are confined to the rear seats. This cockpit is very plush and well equipped. There are some hard plastics, but all the touch points are soft. And the leather is quite supple, and there's simulated wood along the dash and door cards to make it feel somewhat upscale. You get an 8-way power adjustable driver's seat. And aside from providing heaps of comfort, you get a nice commanding view of the road. Aside from the large windows and low beltline, you also get a sunroof, which makes this interior feel even more spacious and airy. This is such a cozy interior space, you even get this huge armrest, which doesn't impede your movement even while you're changing gears. And I'm so glad that Honda gave this a conventional gear selector, which is nicely placed. I'm really not a fan of the push-button gear selector found in the CR-V, so this is a welcome sight. There's also a fair amount of storage because aside from getting this cubby here, which you can extend, you also get one here. And there's even enough space in between the front seats to accommodate a handbag. You also get cup holders here and bottle holders on both doors. And despite all the space in here, everything is still well within reach. However, the controls for the AC are touch sensitive. so it isn't as intuitive as you may need to glance at it when adjusting the ventilation. What's nice about this is you get 3 zones and it's fully automatic, so you won't have to mess around with it too much. Moving on to the infotainment system, you get a 7-inch touchscreen with built-in navigation. This definitely isn't the biggest screen out there, but at least it comes with a 360 camera, which allows you to view various angles of the car. The instrument cluster consists of an analog speedometer and various digital displays. Sitting here won't make you forget that you're in a van, and I mean that in a good way, because this kind of space and comfort is simply hard to find in an SUV or crossover. And we're not even sitting at the back yet, because that's where the Odyssey really shines. You get captain cradle seats with a built-in ottoman and cup holder. And aside from providing enough comfort to keep you smiling in hellish traffic, there's so much adjustability. You can recline and move the seats forwards and backwards. They also move sideways, and you can even adjust the top half of the seat back individually, which will come in handy if you want to watch a movie or flip down the screen while being chauffeured in your Odyssey. Another advantage of this over a 3-row SUV is the fact that the 3rd row is not an afterthought, so you can still expect to seat 3 adults comfortably. There's also no shortage of toys for the rear occupants, as they get separate AC controls and individual air vents. 2nd-row passengers also get sunshades. So obviously there are inherent advantages that come with owning a minivan. But what's the compromise? Is it with the driving experience? Well, there's only one way to find out. Obviously, minivans were not created for the spirited driver. And while SUVs and crossovers have slowly learned to infuse a bit of sportiness in their drive, the minivan, or particularly the Honda Odyssey, makes no attempt to do so. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because minivans are about comfort and ease of use. And when it comes to both of those things, the Honda Odyssey will not leave you wanting. The steering is light and visibility is pretty good. And despite the fact that you sit a little far from the hood, which may take a bit of getting used to, the car does not feel big to drive. It has a pretty small turning circle, and it's not that difficult to park. But speaking of parking, this comes with a Smart Assist parking system, which steers itself if you need to park in a tight space. Then there's the comfort, which I'd have to say is this vehicle's strong suit. The suspension is extremely compliant, and despite the fact that this isn't exactly a canyon carver, it does not feel unsettled around the bends, even when you take them at speed. The Honda Odyssey comes with a 2.4-liter iVTEC engine, which pumps out 173 horsepower and 226 Nm of torque. Now those numbers aren't astronomical, but it's more than enough to keep this from feeling sluggish. This also comes with a CVT, a continuous variable transmission, and surprisingly, it has paddle shifters. Now that's a good to have, but personally I don't see the use for them, even if this does have 7 simulated gears. Now, I'm not a huge fan of CVTs, but it's not an issue in the Honda Odyssey, because CVTs can only become a pain when you drive it hard, and this was not meant to be driven hard. In fact, it is extremely refined and comfortable, and that's really all you need from a minivan. So the drive may not be exhilarating, but it is very relaxing. And for a minivan, that's exactly how you want it. The Honda Odyssey EX-V sells for 2,698,000 pesos. And I know that's significantly more than what you typically pay for a 3-row SUV. But you have to remember that most of them won't offer the same level of space and comfort that you can find here. And when you compare this to other people haulers that are similarly equipped, the price really isn't that bad.